Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack and this is your latest Manchester United news. And we've got a lot to talk about tonight. I say it all the time, but it is Manchester United and it's transfer season. We've got a lot to talk about and we're going to be talking about the midfield more than anything else. Is there a change of plan, a change of tactics, a change of direction for Manchester United in terms of rebuffing that midfield in this summer transfer window? There's been reports coming out that PSG are not willing to lower their price tag for Manuel Ugarte. And have they changed their tactics of potentially looking at the likes of Youssouf Fofana for a lot cheaper? So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. We're also going to talk a little bit about Sofyan Amrabat. We do know that Manchester United in the past week didn't take up the option to buy him for the agreed option to buy after his loan, but are United still negotiating maybe on a lower deal, a lower price for him? We'll talk a little bit about that as well. Reports coming out today that Manchester United are supposedly eyeing up a €100 million move for a forward player. Doesn't sound like the new Manchester United, does it? But let's see what kind of legs it has. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit as well about Ligt. Reports suggesting that Bayern Munich are not going to lower their price valuation for him. What are United going to do? We'll talk about that. We are being linked with a Chelsea centre-back today as well, which is interesting. We'll talk a little bit about that also. And finally then, I do want to talk a little bit, because it wouldn't be a transfer window involving Manchester United if we didn't at least mention Frenkie de Jong, would it? We've got some small updates on Frenkie de Jong as well to Manchester United. Could it happen? Will it happen? Third time lucky? Let's see what happens. But before all of that, guys, please do smash a like on the video. As you know, it helps the channel out so much. Do subscribe if you are new to the channel as well. On the road to 11,000 subscribers. Like I said, the numbers are flying up the last few days. So please do hit that subscribe button. But most importantly, jump into the chat. Give us your opinions. We'll be going through as many comments as we possibly can. If you are new, say hello. And you're all very welcome to the channel if it is your first time. And to everybody else, you're welcome back. But guys, I do want to start with the midfield. Now, look, we do know Manchester United have got some reinforcements in both, you know, up front and at centre-back. That doesn't mean we're finished in either of them positions. But it looks like United's attention has been turned to midfield and how we can improve our midfield for next season. We do know the main, I suppose, link that we've had over the last few weeks has been Manuel Ugarte of PSG. Now, we do know that he's not going to come cheap, supposedly. Now, plenty goal from Germany, Florian Plettenberg has come out today and reiterated the fact that PSG are still demanding at least €70 million for Ugarte, who does want to join Manchester United. Negotiations are ongoing. Now, we do know that Man United have agreed personal terms with Ugarte, so that isn't an issue whatsoever. And it all comes down to the price that we're looking at here. Now, there's a number of different things that I've been thinking about today when we're talking about this price tag. First and foremost, I think 70 million is too much. I think we go back to what we've said before about when we were linked with Brantwaite at Everton. We said quite consistently that there are better players out there for cheaper money. And I think that is the case here as well with Ugarte. While I do like him and I do think he would be a fantastic addition to Manchester United squad, 70 million is too much. Now, we do know under the new regime and the new ownership and the new structure at Manchester United, we don't wait around. We will move on. And it's been the case so quickly that we've turned that that kind of outlook about Manchester United, especially when you're looking at another club looking in at Manchester United. They will now say in such a short period of time, they're not going to wait around anymore. They're not going to do a Frenkie de Jong on it again and wait until the end of the transfer window and then we will get what we want. They'll move on to other targets. And we do have other targets in mind. Now, the main target, and it's been coming out today, is in relation to Youssouf Fofana. And this is coming from Di Marzio, and it has been rebutted then as well by Sky as well. They've said that Manchester United have joined the race for Youssouf Fofana. Monaco are asking for €35 million. Now, there has been reports coming out, they're not just reports, it's facts, that AC Milan are in the driving seat to sign this guy. And you could be looking at anywhere as little as £17 million for Youssouf Fofana, which I think for a player of his quality is an unbelievable price. It really is. Now, there's a couple of different ways to look at this report and look at this link between Manchester United and Fofana. Are we seeing something similar like we've seen in the last few years? Let's get Manchester United interested here to drum up the price. You know, are Monaco, you know, using Manchester United to get AC Milan to pay the higher amounts that they're looking for? I think AC Milan have got a 15 million bid in. Fofana's got 1 year left on his deal at Monaco. So we do know that this is, you know, this is the kind of deal where the advantage goes to the buying club more so than the selling club. Selling clubs now, as we know, it's become quite a regular thing that players have been running down their contracts, not just with Manchester United. We've seen it a lot at Manchester United. Paul Pogba done it twice, for example. But we're seeing it at other clubs in the last couple of years as well. So I think clubs are getting quite wary of this, and they're looking to either, you know, get a player signed down to a new contract as quickly as possible, or get him sold, you know, with a year to go. Manuel Ugarte, I think, is a fantastic player, but for 70 million, no thank you. When we're talking about Youssouf Fofana, potentially getting him for around 17-20 million pounds, maybe, you're talking about getting a really, really good footballer, and a footballer that he's not an out-and-out number 6 per se, like, you know, your Casemiros, for example, your tough, heavy hitting, heavy tackling number 6s. To me, Fofana is more a hybrid between someone like Casemiro and maybe Frenkie de Jong. He's very, very good at getting on the ball. And I want to bring up some of his stats here, because it's something that I wanted to say straight away. When I seen these links, I said, oh man, there's a guy that can pass. There's a guy that wants to play forward all of the time. And we can see it in his stats here. Let me see. Can I zoom in any further? Yeah, there we go. So we're talking here, obviously, the more green on these charts, the better, which is absolutely fantastic. The most important one, in my opinion here, is this one, progressive passes. Now, progressive passes for a number 6 like this guy is very, very important when you want to play on the front foot all the time. You want to get the ball forward. And he's in the 95th percentile for players in the same position in the world for progressive passes. And it gives you what progressive passes means there. Completed passes that move the ball towards the opponent's goal line at least 10 yards from its furthest point in the last 6 passes, or any completed pass into the penalty area, excludes passes from the defending 40% of the pitch. This guy likes to get the ball and play it forward. Now, pass completion, you might say, is very low. Now, pass completion, we all know what that means. The more you try to play the ball forward and the more you try to create, the less likely you are to have a high pass completion. And we've seen the same kind of arguments with Bruno Fernandes from Manchester United fans and opposition fans, of course, over the last few years. He gives the ball away an awful lot. Yeah, he does. But in order to try and create, you have to be willing to give the ball away. And this guy does it from a deeper position in midfield. So, yeah, look, I mean, I really like this guy. I really do. And we've mentioned him before on a number of occasions. And plenty of people in the chat have been talking about him as well over the last couple of weeks. And I like him. I really, really do. And I think he would be a very good addition to Manchester United. Now, is it again, like we said, Monaco kind of, you know, drum up the price and bring it up that AC Milan will match their valuation? That remains to be seen. You can also look at this as well from the Manchester United side. The fact that we're looking at Ugarte and PSG are not budging on 70 million. All right, well, let's drum up a bit of interest in Youssouf Fofana and say to PSG, look, we're willing to walk away. We can get a guy for, you know, according to your valuation, we can get a guy for close to 40 million cheaper, probably more than 40 million cheaper, which is absolutely unbelievable when you think about it. And there's not a 40 million difference in terms of the quality of players. I think they are slightly different players, to be honest with you. I think Ugarte is more of that defensive style CDM, whereas, like I said, Fofana can be more of a hybrid between, say, Ugarte and the likes of a Frenkie de Jong, who likes to progress the ball further up the field. I like what we're doing here. I like who we're being linked with, and these are good footballers that, you know, could add some real quality to Manchester United. And when you're talking about the figures that are being thrown around for Youssouf Fofana, I mean, this 35 million from Damasio is quite high considering what AC Milan have already offered for him. And, you know, they see themselves as being in pole position to go and sign him. Now, are United going to, you know, pip AC Milan to another signing? I think it's quite likely. Obviously, we've already done it with Joshua Zirkzee. So let's see what happens. But these are the kind of reports that I'm really excited about seeing, and these are the types of players that I want to see as being linked with all of the time. Not only because of their quality, but look at the price that we're potentially going to be able to get somebody like Youssouf Fofana and his quality. You know, I think it's very exciting. Let's see what you guys think. We do have a poll running as well, guys. Let me know what you think. Make sure you're getting your votes in. At the moment, it's up Ugarte for 70 million or Fofana for 35. What would you prefer? At the moment, it's closer than I thought it would be. 40% for Ugarte and 60% for Fofana at the moment. So make sure you get your votes in on the poll as well. Let's see what people are saying in the chat here, and we'll go down through some of your comments. Jack, a good deal for Ugarte. Swap Sancho and give them 45 million in 3 years. Yeah, look, I mean, I do think Sancho is probably going to play a role in us getting Ugarte if we do eventually get him. Now, we will still want to find and match the valuation. We will want PSG to match the valuation that we have for Sancho, just as much as they will want us to match their valuation for Ugarte. So let's see what happens. Again, Rick says swap Sancho with Ligt and Evening All. Chris is in there as well. Craig says Fofana is the better value. We could probably swoop him up for 25 mil. The only issue, I don't consider him a proper number 6. Exactly. That goes back to what I'm saying. He's more of the modern day, you know, progressive defensive midfielder, more so than the out and out, you know, wrecker, you know, or so wrecking ball or whatever you might like to say. Chris says 70 million, too much, move on. Rick says way too much. Danny says I'd like to see Ugarte come in, but not for 70 million euros. He's a good player, but not worth that sort of money. If we can't get him, then it's time to move on. Maiten says Ugarte might be a flop, 70 million dodgy. Well, that's always the issue, and we've seen that time and time again at Manchester United over the last decade. You know, we've seen it with the likes of Di Maria. We've seen it with Anthony more recently. We've seen it with Lukaku. We've seen it with Paul Pogba. All of these big name signings for big money haven't lived up to the expectation. And we've mentioned it before. That is maybe down to the price tag that's above their head. Let's not, let's not just get rid of that completely. I'll go back to what I've said about Anthony. Even though he's been pretty much shocking for us for the last 2 years, I think if we paid 30 million for Anthony, there would be nowhere near as much pressure on him as there currently is. Chris says Fofana is good, but I think he is more box to box and not a destroyer like Ugarte. Exactly. I would like to see both of them. In an ideal world, Ugarte and Fofana would be fantastic side by side. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I mean, I think Manchester United are looking at him solely for the price we could potentially get him for. You know, and you're automatically then giving yourself so many options in that midfield. Let's say we don't get Ugarte and Casemiro stays. Casemiro, Fofana, Menu, Mount, Bruno, every single player there can play in at least 2 of the 3 central midfield positions, which is fantastic, you know. Is he better than Mount, Menu, Fernandes, Casemiro, Eriksen, says Rick? Well, I mean, break that down player by player. He's a different player to Mount and Bruno Fernandes. He's more of a deep-lying midfielder, not as deep as, you know, maybe a Casemiro, for example. Menu, I think he would be similar to style of footballer to Menu. Again, I'm going to back Menu there all day. I mean, he's the up-and-comer. Casemiro, again, he's a hybrid between a Casemiro and a Menu. And Eriksen is, you know, a granddad now at this stage. So, as much as I love Christian Eriksen. Let's see. Martin says, I have followed Ugarte. He is a really good player. Yep, absolutely he is. Absolutely, I agree. He also says, I don't know how good Fofana is. Let's see what else we've got as we go down. Danny says, Fofana is a good player and he will only get better. £17 million is a brilliant deal and a no-brainer. Well, United are looking at these kind of deals now, guys. You know, players that are coming into the final year of their contract, that are looking to move on, that have made a name for themselves at clubs like Monaco, you know, at clubs like Bologna, you know, at clubs like Marseille or Lille, sorry, with Euro. And we're seeing a pattern now. And I like it, I have to say. I really do like it. Chris says, even at 35 mil, it's not bad. I would say 20 plus add-ons. There you go. I think Fofana is the more realistic move for us, says Ben. Yeah, look, I still think probably Ugarte is our number one choice for central midfield, because we need, more than anything, we need a CDM. If we are going to be moving the likes of Casemiro on, I think Ugarte will be still our number one option if we can negotiate a deal for him. But again, I go back to what we've said. If you can get Fofana for 20 million, I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. Rick says, you can see how we are building from the back. All great things need a solid foundation. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Maiten says, we need another CDM alongside Cobby. And Gift says, I like your channel. I appreciate it, my man. Thanks. Good to see you. I think you're new. Thanks for subscribing if you have. And welcome. Cobby and Mason Mount will be the best midfield players this season. Well, look, we've spoken about Mason Mount a good bit, haven't we? And look, hopefully he'll be like a new signing for us this year. Now, we're not finished with midfield just yet. We've spoken about Ugarte. We've spoken about Fofana. And there's some positive reports coming out about this guy, Sofyan Amrabat. Now, we do know that Manchester United didn't take up the option to buy him. Was it for 20 million? I think it was, or 17 million maybe, something like that, in around the 20 million mark, for example. And we said it straight away, didn't we? We said it straight away. This is the new Manchester United. They haven't taken up the option to buy him for the set price when we got him on loan. Okay, that was under a different regime, and I think if we had the current regime last year when we were negotiating the loan deal for Amrabat, we probably would have negotiated a lower price then again. So this is again very smart moves out of Manchester United. We're working on Manchester United working on two options to sign midfielder. Manchester United are working on two scenarios with regards to their pursuit of Sofyan Amrabat this summer. The Premier League Giants' option to buy on Amrabat has expired, but he still could end up at Old Trafford in the ongoing transfer window. The midfielder's preference is to move to Manchester United, and that's key in the negotiations here. That is vital, and the club are in talks with Fiorentina over signing him. Amrabat has rejected offers from Turkey and Saudi Arabia and has been patiently waiting for Manchester United this summer. According to Italian outlet Tutto Mercato, Manchester United are working on two possibilities with regards to taking the midfielder back to Old Trafford. They are open to signing the Moroccan on another loan deal with an option to buy next summer. And they're also prepared to sign him on a permanent deal, but Fiorentina would have to agree to lower their demands. It's absolutely top-notch future planning and negotiating out of the new Manchester United here. 20 million was too much, okay? We're not paying that for him, especially the bit part role he played last year, but we still do want to sign him. So we'll let that 20 million buy option expire, and we'll start to renegotiate with them then. And I go back to what I've said here. The key here for Sofyan Amrabat is the fact that he wants to join Manchester United over anybody else. And that is more than likely going to force Fiorentina's hand, because look, they're willing to do business for him anyway, given the fact that he wants to leave. So we're probably going to, if we do sign Sofyan Amrabat, it's probably going to be for a cut price fee. Supposedly, according to this report, Fiorentina have dropped their demands to 13 million euro. Now, if we're talking about Manchester United and we're talking about the new structure there, 13 million euro is the demand from Fiorentina. We'll probably get him for 8. And to get Sofyan Amrabat as a squad player for 8 million euros is an absolute steal, especially on the back of the form we seen him have at the end of last season. When Erik ten Hag tinkered with the formation last year, with the final maybe 3 games of the season in the lead up to the FA Cup final, Sofyan Amrabat played every game and he was absolutely fantastic for that period. So I think going out and getting Sofyan Amrabat as a squad player is absolutely a no-brainer, especially when we're seeing these types of figures being quoted for us. I think it would be absolutely fantastic. And look, we know he's been there now. He's been there for 12 months. He knows what Erik ten Hag wants. He knows the style of play we're playing. He's settled in there. He knows the responsibilities, so on and so forth. While he may not be, like, if Sofyan Amrabat was our number one target this summer, I would be concerned. I really would be concerned. However, we're talking about bringing him in as a squad player. And if you're getting him for in and around 10 million euro, I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. But yeah, and look, there was a lot of criticism about him, you know, throughout the season last year, but I think he was really, really, really good when Erik ten Hag changed that formation and changed the tactics last year. I thought he was a different player completely. I really, really do. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're getting your comments in, guys. If you are new to the channel, do smash a like on the video, guys. Hit subscribe as well. We are on the road to 11,000 subscribers, so like I said, I do appreciate everybody. And make sure you're getting your votes in the poll as well, in the live chat there. Ugarte for 70 million or Fofana for 35 million. It's Ugarte at 35% at the moment and Fofana at 65%. So yeah, get your votes in. We'll close that in a few minutes. But let me know what you think about Amrabat as well. For 13 million, I mean, I think it's an absolute steal, to be quite honest with you. Danny says 12 million plus 2 and welcome back Amrabat, happy days. Rick thinks he's rubbish. Chris says good moves from Ineos, absolutely. Let's see. Martin says, to be sincere, Amrabat didn't impress me last season. I wouldn't recommend Man U to sign him. Maybe we give him another 1 season on loan. Well, like we said, the loan is an option there as well. United are working on 2 separate scenarios with Fiorentina at the moment, if them reports are to be believed. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against taking him on loan for another 12 months. Absolutely not. I do think we would probably see players move on. You know, if we do sign someone like Amrabat, you know, and there has been arguments online, I've seen them today as well, you know, around the whole Amrabat situation, to why would you sign Amrabat when you could just maybe keep Scott McTominay as a squad player? And while I do understand that, coming through the academy and so on and so forth, Scott McTominay does give us a viable option to get some good money in this summer to balance out the books. You know, and look, I think if Ugarte comes in regardless, he's more than likely going to be that number 1 CDM for us anyway, and Amrabat would be a squad player, but a very good squad player, I have to say. These are the type of squad players that you want. You know, the guy would play in goal if you asked him. He played left back for the first 2 games when he signed for Man United, and I do think his heart is in the right place. And we go back to it again, guys. We're starting to see players want to play for Manchester United again, and that can't be underestimated either. It really can't. Show the UCC community gift. So, a lovely gift from some of the lovely viewers on the channel today. The Kitman.eu, who's sponsoring all of the pre-season games, guys. The guys got me a lovely Manchester United third kit. I do appreciate all of the few viewers that got this for me. I don't know, should I show the back of it? I probably should, but yeah, it's becoming a bit of a trend now that yeah, there we go. So I won't say it. I'll let you read into it as ye will. But I do appreciate it, Chris. Appreciate it, my man, as always. Ben says, Amrabat as a squad player, that's a perfect fee for him. Handshake and get it done. Absolutely. Rick says, we would have by now, we sign Johnny Evans straight away. Well, look, no, Johnny Evans was just renewing the deal that we gave him last year. Johnny Evans was free. Amrabat, there's negotiations to do with his current club. Amrabat for less than 10 million euros. Class move, says Chris. Craig says Amrabat is a good defensive option. Finn says Amrabat seems like a good apple, but I'm not convinced by him. Yeah, and look, guys, we're not talking about Amrabat coming in and being our starting central defensive midfielder, game in, game out. He's coming in to play in the Europa League, to play in, the early stages of the FA Cup, to play against, the lower sides in the Premiership. And also, when there's 70 minutes gone and we're 3-0 up, you can take off players. You can take off players and rest them and keep them fresh, and that's why you need players like Amrabat, and that's what I think ultimately he would be used for. As a rotational player, I like Amrabat, says Craig. Rick says, we got the best centre-back in the world, Martinez. There we go. That's the only defender we need. Well, we need more than that, to be honest with you. Depth is my favourite word when it comes to signing players. Now, let's move away and let's get talking from one end of the spectrum in terms of a low transfer fee to the other end of the spectrum in terms of a huge transfer fee. And some reports coming out today, and again, pinch of salt, okay, when it comes to these reports. For anyone who doesn't know, when we do that, it means take this report with a pinch of salt, because it's probably not true. But we talk about it regardless. Manchester United are preparing a €100 million offer for Bayern Munich target Xavi Simons. Now, look, we've heard some links about this guy last week as well, and we know he had a very good European Championships with his country, and this report is saying that according to Bild, Manchester United are prepared to compete with Bayern Munich over the signing of Xavi Simons. Is it Simons or Simons? Simons. I'm going to go Simons. It has previously been reported that Simons is looking to depart PSG this summer, and that word has emerged as favourites to secure his signature. Despite this, RB Leipzig remain confident that the Dutchman will ultimately decide to return to Saxony after a successful loan spell last season. Nevertheless, it is understood that personal terms have already been agreed upon between Bayern and Simons' management. Nevertheless, as stated in the report, Manchester United have now entered the race to sign the 21-year-old. As well as this, the Premier League outfit are preparing to make a €100 million offer in order to sign Simons. What is stopping him from leaving PSG? Who cares? If he leaves, he leaves. Now, let me know what you guys think about this. 100 mil for, a very, very good footballer, it has to be said. Xavi's a very, very good footballer. 21 years of age, you would be buying massive, massive potential, and you would be getting one of the best young, forwards in world football. Could you say that? Would it be? Is that a bit? Is that a bit over the top? Maybe to say. Let me get up his stats here, and we'll have a look at him. If I can find them, they should be here somewhere. Let me do this. There. Why can't I find his? Why can't I find it? Anyway, doesn't matter. Look, this guy, PSG's on 30 grand a week at the moment. You're talking about this guy as a potential right winger for Manchester United. Now, we do know our lack of real stability on that right-hand side over the last few years. We had Mason Greenwood. We know what happened there. Jadon Sancho, no good. We're playing Garnacho off the right when naturally he's a left winger, a left forward, you would say. So this guy certainly would fit the bill. He really, really would fit the bill in terms of the quality that you would be getting. And I think, look, let's cut straight to the chase here. I don't think he is worth. Oh, there we go. Now, I've got his stats up here. I don't think he's worth 100 million. He's a very, very good player, But is he worth 100 million? I mean, let's look at it here. We're looking at assists, 91 percentile, which is very good. Shot creating actions, 96 percentile. Look, there's a lot of green there. There's a lot of green, which is always good. Non-penalty goals is 58, so he isn't an out-and-out goal scorer, you would say. He does have a lot of goal involvements when you see the 91% in terms of assists. Expected goals is in the 89 percentile as well. We've seen things like progressive passes really good, successful take-ons is really good, progressive carries is really good. So look, he's the out-and-out right winger that you would expect to see, or you would expect to have for these kind of stats. But for 100 million euro, I go back to what we've said. We're not in the market for 100 million euro players at the moment. We're just not. Now, are Bayern Munich going to pay 100 million for him? I doubt it. When I seen this figure, it looked quite inflated to me more than anything else. And while I do like him as a player, I don't think we can, not only should we, because it would be going back to putting all your eggs in the one basket again for a massive, massive fee, but I don't think we can afford to do it either. Like I've said, multiple times, we need depth, and we need to balance the depth with quality, so I think when you go back and you're talking about, the likes of Fofana in terms of depth for quality and price on top of that, you cannot get much better than a deal like that. However, sorry, that's the wrong one. However, this guy for 100 million, while I do like him, I think he's a fantastic footballer, 100 million is too much. It's really, really too much, in my opinion. But let's see what happens. Let's keep a close eye on it. Get your thoughts in. Let's see what you think. 100 mil over 10 years, says Chris. Well, look, I mean, we've seen them types of deals being done, haven't we, with the likes of Chelsea and so on, where they drag it out over an 8-year contract. I don't know if we really should be doing them kind of deals, them really long contracts, because you're tying yourself into a player for far too long. And I don't think United will do that. Martin says, Xavi Simons is so good, but really 100 million is too much for him. I get that, but I'd rather keep McTominay. That's in relation to the last one. Secret Agent Rude is on the job for Simons. You never know. You never know. Danny says, I can't believe this report under the old structure. I believe it, but not under the Ineos structure. This is something, hoping it will be true to get clicks. Now, what you could look at now, this is completely conspiratorial. Are Manchester United entering the race for this guy, to, one, use it as a bargaining chip if we're going for Ligt, okay? Because I know it's completely different positions, but we could go to Bayern Munich. Look, we'll back out of the race for Xavi Simons if you maybe lower your asking price a little bit for De Ligt. And likewise, PSG are there saying, he's our player and so on and so forth, and, we want to drum up some interest, and United will go, well, look, you give us Ugarte a little bit off of Ugarte and come closer to what we want. We'll enter the race for Simons and drive up the price. Now, again, this is completely conspiratorial, but I mean, I'm not involved in transfers. I just talk about them. I wouldn't be surprised if things like this do go on in the background. Is it against the law? I don't know. Is it unethical? Probably. But I wouldn't be surprised if these kind of things happen, to be quite honest with you. Let's see what other people are saying. Chris says, not needed at this point. Need a CDM, centre back and right back. Yeah, and that's a great point as well. We've spoke at length over the last couple of weeks saying, the spine of the team is what's most important. And when we're looking at maybe the limited transfer budget that we've got without selling players, 100 million just doesn't come into the equation this summer for me anyway. And I think the majority of people would be the same. And if we're thinking that, then surely the likes of Dan Ashworth and Wilcox and Barada are thinking it as well. If we didn't waste 82 million on Anthony, it would be interesting. It would be. Rick says, Simons has played for too many clubs. That can't be for no reason. Attacking wingers in the next window, says Chris. Let's see. Right player, wrong time, says Ben. Yeah, good point. Good point there. Need to pay a lot of green for a lot of green. I don't know what that means. I've got a slight idea, but I could be completely wrong. Anyway, let's see. He's set up to fail at Old Trafford at that price, says Finn. Yeah, like a lot of players have been in the past, you know. Let's see. Gift says that's that kind of deal. Just walk away. Yeah, I start to agree with you, to be honest with you. Ricky, have you been drinking or something? The amount of comments that are going in there. Let's see. Finn says, did you ever consider becoming a football agent? Cook the numbers a bit. I'd just be there like that going, who have we got next? There's this young lad. He's not too young anymore. He's 35 from Kilkenny. Just give him a 1-year deal. Let him play a couple of times so he can score in front of the Stretford end. Yeah, happy days. Anyway, let's move it on and talk about defence. And let's talk about De Ligt for a moment, because we do know obviously the links are quite heavy there, and Pledygol has reiterated his stance today talking about it. He said Manchester United are offering less than 40 million euro for De Ligt, and Bayern Munich have rejected every offer so far. Now, as far as we're aware, United have only had one offer in for De Ligt and it was rejected. They are firm about not negotiating on this. United have to pay 50 million euro plus bonus payments. So, Bayern Munich are not budging. Sorry, just let me get a drink of water. I have a frog in my throat here. Bayern Munich aren't budging. Ribbit. Yeah, Bayern Munich are not budging on De Ligt. They're just not budging on him as we stand. And I said this last week, once we got the Euro deal done, I said that this deal for De Ligt could ramble on. And it could be one of them ones that tiptoes into August. Because Bayern Munich are not lowering their price. And are we going to go back in and pay close to 60 million for a second centre-back in the same transfer window? I just don't know if we are, to be quite honest with you. Now, what I am kind of getting the kind of feeling that I'm getting from this as well is that Manchester United are calling their bluff, and they continue to call their bluff on this, because you look at the centre-backs that Bayern Munich have got. You know, they've got 5 or 6, you know, reliable starters at centre-back at the moment. They have to offload some of their centre-backs, and De Ligt is the main one for them. And De Ligt has said that he doesn't want to sign for anyone else other than Manchester United. There's nobody else in for him. So I think Manchester United are going, we'll wait on this one. We've already got Euro, so not that we've got the centre-back area, you know, completely fixed by any means, but we've got enough there now that we can, you know, we could start the season without signing a second centre-back, without injuries, of course. You know, you'd have Euro and Martinez, brilliant, you know, and then you could have Maguire and Lindelof as your backup, and Johnny Evans. I keep forgetting Johnny Evans, sorry. And then what you could be doing is you could be going, right, well, look, Bayern, there's 2 weeks left in the window here. Are you going to accept our 40 million euro here or not? It's still on the table. Accept it and we'll move on and we'll sign him. We get him then for 40 million, and then bang, you pull the trigger on Harry Maguire or Lindelof to leave, you know, and you recoup some of that money back. And that all can be done right up until transfer deadline day, selling players, that being. So I don't think United are too worried about the timeline on this just yet. I do, and of course we would all like it done sooner rather than later. But I think United are quite relaxed about the De Ligt situation here, and they're just going, right, well, look, we've offered, I think, what have they offered already? 35 million euro so far. We will probably come up to the 40 million, maybe. Well, I don't think we should go 45. I think we go 40 plus add-ons. And I think that would be a fair price for a player like De Ligt. So yeah, look, I mean, again, it's not something that I'm overly concerned about at the moment. Now, there is an alternative here, and it has come out only in the last couple of hours. I've seen it online, reading some of the reports, and it's in relation to this guy. It's coming from Ben Jacobs, and it's in relation to Trevoh Chalobah of Chelsea. United do hold a genuine interest in him. The defender has been left out of Chelsea's pre-season tour and is likely to leave the London club, who want £25 million for him. So you're talking just over the €30 million mark. Now, Chalobah is look, let's get up his stats here and we'll see. But the one thing I would say about Chalobah, about 4 years ago, I bought him in Championship Manager. And he was fucking unbelievable after a year or two. He was unbelievable. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Football Manager gets it wrong that often. All right? I just don't think they do. What is he now? He's 25 years of age. Right-footed, so we would be getting another right-footed centre-back. And look, he's got experience in the Premier League. He's got experience playing for a relatively big club. And again, it's the kind of deal that I'm not surprised that we're getting involved with at the moment and that we're being linked with. I do think he's a good defender. Is he up there with the levels of De Ligt? No. Is he up there with the potential levels of Euro? No. But I do think he would be quite a good option as a backup right centre-back. I really do. Let's say the De Ligt deal falls through and we're going, right, well, where are we now? You know, and that's a great thing about what United are doing at the moment. We're linking ourselves with multiple players at the same time. And we've got a tiered list. We're not being linked with, you know, 2 world-class centre-backs. They're kind of staggered. You know, we're going, right, well, look, we're in for De Ligt. If we don't get him, we might drop back to Chalobah. And I think Chalobah would be the type of signing that we could get in and use him as a rotational player. You know, I don't think he would be coming to Manchester United expecting to be number one. And I think they're the types of players now that we're looking at, especially at centre-back, especially with the signing of Euro. If we don't get the Ligt, Euro is number one. Euro is the number one right-sided centre-back going forward, 100%. I think if we get the Ligt, I think it would probably more than likely be rotated between the two of them 50-50 or close to it, because De Ligt has the experience, but Euro is probably... I think if you're putting potential along with what he currently has, you're looking at a better player in Euro. I think by the time Euro gets to the Ligt's age, he'll be miles ahead of him. But yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of United and the types of deals that we're looking at and the types of players we're being linked with. It's very strategic and it's something I'm happy with. But look, I mean, I do want to reiterate as well, I don't think Chalobah, by all, again, I go back to what I've said about Amrabat. If Chalobah was the only centre-back we were being linked with this summer, I would be extremely worried. But he's probably coming in as a squad player, a rotational player. Let's see what people are saying here. Neverworld says Bayern obviously want short of him. Contact him and tell him to put in a transfer request. Tank his price. Martin says Matthias de Ligt is worth £50 million. I think Man United can go for him. Chris says it looks like we need backup options for de Ligt. Yeah, there we go. Danny says De Ligt and Martinez at the back would be an unbelievable partnership. 40 million plus add-ons and then we get the handshake. I believe we will sign De Ligt. Martin says he's really willing to sign for Man United and we also need more better options at centre-back. Let's go for him before he's taken up. That's my suggestion. Neverworld says nope. No, he's mince. Mince meat. Martin says, I don't believe in Chelsea players coming to Man United. They always flop. Do they? Juan Mata? He didn't flop. Juan Mata was... So he was, especially with them 2 goals against Liverpool in Anfield. De Ligt and Martinez says, Ayep, the solid centre-back. Finn says, is he an improvement on Harry and Victor? If yes, he's worth it. Well, what you do have to take into consideration, he might not be a massive improvement on them. But if let's say, for example, you move Harry Maguire on, you're getting a centre-back in, maybe, let's say it's similar attributes. You're getting a centre-back in who's a lot younger and you would get for a lot cheaper on wages. And that's a massive plus. De Ligt, too much injuries. He is a good player, but much injuries, that's the problem. We spoke about this a few weeks ago, and we debunked that whole myth. He's had one, I think, it's one injury in the last 6 years that has kept him out for more than a month. And yeah, De Ligt and the Butcher, says Rick, as well. Right, guys, last but not least, and I said we would mention it, it wouldn't be a transfer window without Manchester United being linked with Donny. I was going to say Donny van de Beek, with what's his name again? Can't think of his fucking name. De Jong. Ineos supposedly will try a last-ditch attempt to lure long-standing target with irresistible offer despite snub back in 2022. Let's get down to it here and see all of this nonsense here. Following the club are back on the market for a number 6 options and such. Football 365 has relayed fresh reports coming out of Spain this morning that claim the Reds have reignited their interest in De Jong and submitted an irresistible offer in hopes of finally luring him to Manchester United. One factor that could also sway the 27-year-old in United's favour is that they're also actively pursuing his compatriot, an ex-Ajax teammate, Matthijs de Ligt, although their opening bid, blah blah blah. Yeah, very little coming out on it. It's coming out of Spain. Supposedly Barcelona want rid of him again. Now, the issue here with De Jong again, and I will reiterate this, and I will say it for the next 10 years if we're linked with him every summer. He is a fantastic footballer, and I would love to have him at Manchester United. But the figures have to be right. He has to want to sign for us. Okay. Supposedly Barcelona are looking to offload him again. He is on big money there, and he is one of the players deemed surplus to requirements. Enter Manchester United. Now, it's something that we're going to have to keep a close eye on over the next few weeks. I don't think it's something that we're not going to get a here we go before Friday on Frenkie de Jong. But is it something that I could see happening? It's not outside the realms of possibility, given the fact that Bayern are looking to offload him. And if that is the case, and it does come down to De Jong saying, okay, you don't want me anymore, I've decided I'm going to leave Barcelona at long last, I do think United will jump straight to the head of the queue for him. I really do. We're going to have to hear more from the player and from the club in relation to him actually leaving. Until then, I don't see this being a runner at the moment. But I reiterate, I would love to sign Frenkie de Jong. I really, really would. He has to want to sign, and the numbers have to be right. And if both of them, are on the money, then let's get the job done and let's get him signed. Absolutely, I think he'd be a brilliant signing for us. But I just said we'd drop it in just a little bit, just a little sprinkle of Frenkie. Oshin says, Frankie, here we go again. Death, taxes, and Frankie transfer saga. Neverworld says, can we do away with the young muck? I would take him on a free, but that's about it at this point. He'd definitely bring it to another level, but he don't want us. Is his contract coming up at Barca? Reads like agent talk. Let's have a quick check here before we see. I'll have a quick gander here. Frenkie de Jong contract expiry. His contract expires June 2026, so he's got 2 years left on it. He's got 2 years left. So, I mean, look, 2 years to go is the ideal time frame for a club to sell a player if they don't want him and if he doesn't want it. Now, look, he's on big money. He's on big money at Barcelona. Let's have a look and see what he's actually on, because that obviously would play a huge part in us actually go out and negotiating for him. Let's see, profile. Where is his? How much is he on? Does it say? Frenkie de Jong salary. There we go. What? Sorry, one sec. Annual, weekly. Holy fuck. So supposedly he's on... That can't be right. What? supposedly, now this is according to Capology, which does all of the contracts and the fees and figures and all that kind of stuff. Supposedly, he's on a base salary of 721 grand a week, with potential bonuses of 388 grand, bringing his total per week, if he hits all these bonuses every week, before tax, to 1.1 million per week. Yeah, we ain't signing Frenkie de Jong. Not a fucking hope. He ain't coming to Manchester United. I would, if they tried to get rid of me a day before my contract end, I would stay just to get an extra 20 grand. That's crazy money. We're not signing Frenkie de Jong. I'm putting a tenner on us being linked with him again, winter and the same time next year. Martin says, I don't really need de Jong. This rejected Man United right away from the time we showed interest in him. I don't think he will love to play for us. Maybe we'll try again and see, though. I can't see us signing Frenkie de Jong. He has made it clear he doesn't want to come to Man United. Plus, he's on crazy wages at Barcelona as well. Yeah, there we go. No wonder Barcelona want rid of him, in fairness, on that kind of money. Just goes to show how mismanaged Barcelona have been over the last decade. You know, that's Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi type of money, not Frenkie de Jong type of money, even though he's a fantastic footballer. Guys, please smash a like on the video if you haven't done so. Subscribe if you are new to the channel as well. It's great to see so many people in night after night. Absolutely fantastic. Can't get over the numbers. We're flying up. We're nearly at 10,100 subscribers already, and less than a week ago we hit 10,000. So absolutely fantastic. Do subscribe if you are new to the channel. Like I said, jump into the chat and say hello. If you're looking back on this video at a later date, leave your comments or your thoughts into the comment section below. As always, it's much appreciated. 36 people watching and only 28 likes. Someone is not hitting that fucking like button. So yeah, get them likes up. All right. But look, I do appreciate it, guys, as always. Like I said, we will be back on Saturday night, Sunday morning, middle of the night, 1 o'clock kickoff. We're playing Arsenal. So the watch-alongs are back already. We've done 2 so far, and we've got 3 to go with pre-season. So make sure you're subscribing. Turn on notifications as well, guys. You'll get notified as soon as we're live. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back again tomorrow night. Tomorrow night might be a little bit later, to be honest with you. We're starting back pre-season with the team I'm involved with this year. Come on, the Blues. And so yeah, the Wednesday night shows might be a little bit later, but if it's not 9 o'clock, it'll be 10 o'clock. So turn on your notifications. You'll get notified as soon as we're going live. Make sure you're joining the Discord and the WhatsApp groups as well. There's always updates and notifications about when we're going live in there as well. Chat to you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.